Okay, so last night I watched K-pop Demon Hunters finally. I know I'm like a week out, like off the trend apparently, but it was so good. The music is so good. I have it stuck in my head. To be honest with you,
Oh.
soda pop is annoying as shit, though. I'm not gonna lie to you there. Um, to me, it is. Some people like it, but I'm not the biggest fan.
Right. It's an acquired taste, you know?
Yeah, but
So,
it's like a very generic sounding K-pop song.
yeah.
It's kind of like Butter by BTS. What? I didn't say anything.
Ooh,
But
look at
everyone
that.
online is loving the tiger and the magpie.
Yeah.
Because why not have a derpy tiger and a bird with a little hat? You know.
hmm hmm
And it was just really good. And it was like cool. I finally feel represented in a good way, not in a bad way.
Oh, there you go.
Yay!
You,
It's
we could
really
all
good.
use it. We could all have our spirits uplifted like Witch this week, audience, you know?
Yeah, I recommend everyone watch it
hmm
so we can all jam out to the music together
hmm
because it was really good. It was really good. I hope we get more because I liked it a lot. I hope we get like a show, and this was just like the preview movie for us
hmm
getting to know. Also, all the little references. Oh my god, dude! I was like, oh my god. Any
Hey,
even
Easter
stuff I didn't even
eggs.
notice was there. Like one of the characters, Rumi, her nails are based off of a very specific type of art form in Korea, where they make like beautiful
Wow.
designs out of like a mother of pearl.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called. If anyone remembers what it's
Yeah.
called, please let me know in the comments. But like, it
Gotta
was really
appreciate,
good.
yeah, gotta appreciate those fine details, audience, you know? So, but anyway, well, now that we got some of our K-pop fill out of the way, you guys want to get started? We have a lot of books to talk about today, so
Yeah.
all right, all right. So anyway, welcome to Comic Fanatic Live, the news and reviews of the week, audience. You're here with me, Cryptid Seeker 415. Hey, you got an intro for me yesterday, so move on. Like,
What was your intro yesterday?
yeah, yeah. I only give one intros a week, so
I don't
yeah.
remember you giving an intro yesterday.
Yeah, I was mentioning how delighted I was that I paid a wrestler to strangle me. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So, see, audience, you can find joy in paying somebody to put their arms around you and take the
Yeah,
air
that's
out of
what a
your lungs.
dominatrix does. Not
Okay.
wrong.
Yep. So, all right, Jake. Okay. Which?
I'm fine. Fuck it, it's my turn. I'm
Yeah.
Richter, also known as the Witch of Jotunheim. Pronouns they, he, and go watch K-pop Demon Hunters. It was
This
really
whole
good.
Mhm.
I didn't realize I was still muted.
Jake, go.
Yes, time travel reverse. My name is Jake Talonal here, and listen, with great power comes great responsibility and great suffering as well. Okay. Uh, well,
Hey, remember the motto Dan Slott made in his Spider-Man run? With great responsibility comes great power. Put that in your wall, man, in your office. You know.
isn't that just the same quote but in reverse? Like,
Hey, that's just showing how great it is to have responsibility, man.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Right?
Although when
Okay.
Dan Slott writes it, it feels pretty like sad.
Uh, all right. And okay, I'll say it. And together we are the Fanatics.
Oh
Here to
yeah.
bring here to bring you the news and reviews of the week, audience. And for tonight's show, we're bringing you the reviews. What do we have for tonight?
Uh,
A little bit of your mummy content, some Doctor Who discussions, the sad end to a Spider Boy series. Let's see, some superior Avengers and much, much more, audience. And as I understand it, we also have something called socials, which I'll give to Witch.
yeah, we do.
hmm
First of all, subscribe to us. So if you subscribe to us, you get 10 times more hotter. Remember that.
hmm
Um, and you can also follow us on our Twitter at Comic Fanatic 69. Because you won't get your soul taken away from demons if you
hmm
follow us on Twitter. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
You'll also see some really cool things on there pretty soon if you guys subscribe and get us to 100 subscribers.
Mm.
Yay.
Anyways, if you don't want to follow the whole squad and you just want to follow me, you can follow me on my Twitter at Witch of Jotun with an E instead of a U. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram and sometimes Twitch whenever I get back on that at witch_of_Jotunheim. Follow me on Tumblr and Blue Sky and Northstar Aria. On Rednote/Xiaohongshu, you can follow me at Witch of Jotun. And if you want to support me financially or hit me up on there for commissions if you want, you can
Mm-hmm.
follow me on my Ko-Fi at Witch of Jotunheim. Or if you just want to send me money directly, not through Ko-Fi, my Cash App's in my link tree. Wink. I got 2 cards coming up. Think about it. You don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Crypt is in the same spot as always, not being
Yeah.
strangled by an actual wrestler. And Jake, where you at?
Right now, I'm traveling time and space with the doctor. So there you go.
Cool. Are you gonna make a
Mhm.
pit stop anywhere?
We'll see. We'll see.
Gotcha. But all right then. I guess with that we could talk about the comics of the week, audience. So let's start us off with Deadpool number 15, aka the quote unquote finale to this run. So yeah, anybody who's a longtime Deadpool fan, you'd notice that like every new writer since Jerry Dugan has written his run has only ever reached, if they're lucky, up to 15 issues. You know, so yeah, it just is what it is. Marvel just wants to cash in on that number one value for all their comics, apparently. You know, so all right, kudos to Cody Ziegler for at least reaching it up to 15. But I also got to bring this up, right? When I was at my comic shop getting this book, the guy who was working at the comic book store, right? You know, he's new and all, and he asked me, "Okay, I got a question. Deadpool, he's part of the LGBT community, right?"
He's
Uh,
Pan.
uh, yeah, yeah. So, and Marvel decided to give him a Pride variant cover. Let me show it to you. This is it.
A Valentine.
Yeah. But my comic book store guy was like saying, okay, so they decided to give a character from the LGBT community a Pride variant cover that does not include him.
Bro, I didn't even get a North Star variant. Why do you think that you're gonna get the fucking Deadpool variant
I
cover,
just,
man?
I
Be
just kind of find,
SFR over here. You
yeah,
know damn well the mostly target demographic for Deadpool is. You know damn well who those people
yeah,
are.
yeah, but
He's
I'm
not
just
getting
like,
a Pride variant cover. I didn't even get a variant cover for
yeah.
North Star, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, we just laughed at the situation. So Deadpool is not queer enough to have his own Pride variant cover. Like, does he have
Apparently,
to
he's
sub?
too marketable to the incel community. Apparently,
I,
I don't know.
I guess, I guess. I mean, I would just like to see a story of like maybe Deadpool having to submit a video to the editors saying, "Look, look, look! See, I'm pansexual. I'll fuck anything," and you have a whole
He does not
story
give
of
a.
him.
He has better
You
things to worry about
know,
than your gender.
I just want him to have some recognition in the community, you know? This is like for anybody who's a big football movie fan, remember Rudy? You know, the scene where like Rudy's trying to race to get to the school bus and all the kids are just making fun of him. I mean, I'm just imagining that as Deadpool being Rudy trying to run to the pride celebration bus, and all the characters are like, "Forget it, Wilson. You're not cool enough to be part of the bus ride." Like, but I can. Give me a chance, you know? Like, yeah, but that's just how I see it. So yeah, anyway, this issue, you know, this whole since the beginning of the story, you know, the main villain was Death Grip, and of course, like the finale would have to be like the final boss battle between Deadpool and his crew up against Death Grip. And you know what? I'm not gonna go too into details of it. I mean, the whole thing is a fight sequence between Death Grip and you know, Deadpool's crew, which consists of himself, his daughter, Taskmaster, and Princess, you know? So, all right, they all end up beating him thanks to the sword that Deadpool got uh from his crossover with Miles Morales, and yeah, so they kill him. It was yeah, all goes well. All goes well, audience. A plan comes together, and yes, Princess does consume the corpse of Death Grip and turn him into crap. So yeah, yeah. What better way to turn your arch rival into dog crap? You know? So yeah, that was pretty good. And of course, since this is the finale, of course, Marvel's going to want to capitalize on it by giving it several different variant covers, and jack up the price to $7 an issue. And yeah, they do decide to give in some like short stories into this comic. You have one solo adventure of Princess and one the staff of Deadpool, like some office jockey, this and that. It really doesn't go anywhere. But we do get to see the return of Jerry Dugan and Matty O'Loley. Uh, Jerry Dugan being like the best Deadpool writer of all time, and Matty O'Loley being the most consistent artist of that time. So it was great to see those two come back for this. I forgot to upload a picture of her, but like their story is about like Deadpool being targeted by an assassin, right? And I just realized this now, but apparently this comic is actually a first appearance now because the person who was sent to assassinate Deadpool, her name is Aito Kurami. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but yeah, I mean she has cool anime-like design, carries two swords, carries a big gun, you know, has a lollipop in her mouth. If y'all want to see the design, actually go pick up the comic for yourselves. I mean, hey, she leaves her mark on Deadpool after all. Yeah, yeah, that's what she leaves Deadpool at. You know, at least the heart isn't broken, unlike unlike what Valentine did to Deadpool.
Mhm.
And yeah, we do get a little bonus story of a Deadpool samurai themed story where audience. Let's not forget Deadpool has his own manga. So if you want to see more of that, pick up this book. And pretty much the rest of the issue, I kind of like what they did here. They decided to leave the last couple of pages to having like the covers of all 350 issues of Deadpool. So the legacy numbering, this or that. So hey, if you're looking to collect all Deadpool comics just like me, this is a must-have. So hey, you could which Deadpool comics you still lack, and So yeah, that's pretty much it for my Deadpool comic to talk about. Oh, just another thing. Even though this is considered finale, we gotta remember the same creative team in this run is going to come back in this upcoming week writing the Wolverine and Deadpool book. So yeah, that's going to be a team up between Deadpool and his daughter teaming up with Wolverine and X-23.
I'm
So
surprised. Yeah, it's kind of funny that Logan was like, "Let's not call up Akihiro. He's going through enough bullshit as it is."
nah. They specifically had to make sure it was the daughters in this time,
It's
which
really hard. Why not bring Gabby? Gabby would probably be
Mhm.
closer to Ellie's age than Laura.
I know. But I guess they're looking for the marketing of that. So,
I think it would have been interesting if it was Gabby. Gabby would have like loved Ellie.
oh yeah, and
Their
hey, considering the fact,
personalities, from what I know, are kind of similar.
yeah, and also let's not forget, Gabby and Deadpool, they have a good relationship.
If they don't bring up Gabby one time in that book, I'm gonna be very disappointed. So you better
Right.
text me
Yep.
if
I
that.
mean, which Gabby did one of the sweetest things that's ever been given to Deadpool. She literally gives him her middle finger.
She's like, "It's fine. We'll grow back."
Yeah, she cuts off her middle finger, audience, and gives it to Deadpool as a present.
As a form of love and
Hey,
charity.
hey, nah, she's a child, Wiz. All right, let's talk
Love
about
comes in
it.
many different forms.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Each
yeah, good. Gotcha. Let's not give an audience
It was
any
more like
mis
familial love, Krypton. Know your
familiar,
differences of love.
familiar love. Okay, yeah. Let's not give audiences any ideas of like,
No, I don't have
like
to
Gabby and
deal with
Deadpool.
online, okay? I don't want to deal with more weirdos online because of bullshit. Anyways, you better text me
Yeah,
what happens.
gotcha. Nah, I will. I mean, it's gonna be like a 3-issue miniseries, so yeah, it won't be that long. But again, like, yeah, I remember we used to kind of rag on Captain Marvel for a while, where Marvel would go on to giving her a #1 every couple issues, right? But it kind of
In
seems like
her
Marvel's,
defense, in her
yeah,
defense,
but yeah,
they have to keep making Captain Marvel comics, or else Marvel loses the rights to the name.
well, but at the time they were also trying to hype up Captain Marvel's character in the movies,
Well,
so
keep
they didn't want her. They
and they were
didn't
trying
want
to
her.
hype up Carol to be the next Captain Marvel.
Yep. They were trying to help build her up, in the comic world, but it just never stuck. But it kind of seems like Marvel is now taking that idea of giving a series a #1 every couple issues to other series right now, like in Deadpool in this case, audience, or like the Scarlet Witch book. They're stealthily continuing on with the same creative team and the same artist, but just randomly giving it a #1 treatment, acting as if it was brand new. Yeah, it could get kind of annoying, but what can you do? It's like you can't put the genie back in the bottle after Marvel's like has been heavily dependent on #1s for so long. What happens in #1s? Justification for more readers to come and feel that it's easier to pick up a book. And also it gives Marvel an excuse to make more variant covers of it. So
Mm.
yeah, is what it is. But anyway, yeah, that's really it for Deadpool. So we can move on to the next book. Do.
Okay, my turn. I have 2 issues to go, Beth, to go through, so we're
Mhm.
gonna make this quick, okay? I'm talking about
Mhm.
Avengers Academy issues 47 and 48. I'm talking about 47 first because chronological. It's called Home.
Mhm.
So we
Yep.
start off with Brielle, Aaron, and Lunella. They're at the front door of her childhood home. Right. Switch to the first picture.
Right there.
I love her house. I love this scenery. I'm not gonna lie to you there. It looks awesome.
It,
Okay?
it's
Love
more
the colors.
it's more colorful than I would expect. Like.
It's been a while since I read her debut series, but I
Mhm.
don't know. Also, I know this doesn't mean anything, but the front door is purple. If
Mhm.
you don't understand the reasoning for that, if your front door is purple, that means a witch lives there.
Ooh.
So I'm not saying that her mother's a witch. I'm just wanting to point that out to you guys. It's been a while. Anyways,
Gotcha.
so Brielle knocks on the door. Her mom opens up and she's like, "Oh my god, my beautiful baby girl! Oh my god, mwah,
Mm.
mwah, 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 mwah." You know how
Yeah.
mom sometimes.
Mhm.
Anyways, so she's like, "Oh my god, who is this cute little girl with the cutest little puffballs I've ever seen?" Because you know how Lunella has her hair.
Yeah.
And, she was like, "I'm Lunella. Like, do you have Legos, girl? I love you." And
Mhm.
and Lunella's mom, Brielle's mom is like, "I think we have a Tupperware in Brielle's room." Oh, great.
Oh.
So she's like, Bree's mom is like, "Oh, and who's this? Your new boyfriend?" And Bree is like, "No, mom. Aaron's very." Before she was able to finish her sentence, she was her mom was like, "Oh, hungry, I bet," because according to the writer, she was gonna say that Aaron's very, very gay, which is true.
Mm.
Which is true. And guess what? They're getting food.
Mhm.
They're getting fed. So don't worry.
Mhm.
And she brings up that time when Brielle was hanging out with Spider-Man during the Blood Hunt event and all this
Right.
other stuff, and that the fact that she has Nicholas Fury on speed dial. She says his full government name. Well, besides like the junior, but don't worry about that. Not important.
Yeah.
Anyways, so when Brielle was about to say, and she's like, "I'm not seeing any boys," or she's like, I'm gonna go out. I will be right back," and all this other stuff. And her mom was like, "But you just got here. The sun's barely going down." And Brielle's like, "Oh, duty calls, and all this other stuff." And she's like, "Okay, you two, watch the house. with my mom. It's all good. I'm gonna see if maybe I can find my homies before I went to the academy. I hope they're doing well. So she goes to sit outside on the porch and Aaron to make sure, but she's okay. And she's like, it's just a lot. I just need to catch my breath, take a quick walk, and that's what she does. Can you switch to the next picture?
Shooting.
Yeah, she goes to her old high school, and she's like, who is in here? She's walking around the school because apparently you could just do that. Apparently,
It's
and
not
we
like
see,
they're security guards, you know. So.
yeah, but usually the doors are locked. Anyways,
Mhm.
so we see a very familiar face. You might not remember who this person is, but do you guys remember Apostate from earlier on in the book? He's the former Dora Milaje vampire lady. And, they do get out and all this other stuff. And Brielle's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And Apostate's like, hey, I knew you would return home eventually. Bitches like us can't help it, bitch. Like, shit. We're here, man. But she's like, but there's a very powerful sorcerer, interdimensional. Like, he promised me a cure so that I can go home. You know?
Right.
And she's like all scary about it. And she's like, I could share it with you if you'd like, and we could be whole again, but it was for a price. Where's that lovely little girlfriend of yours, anyways? And Brielle kicks her in the face, doing the splits in the air or whatever the fuck that jump is called. I haven't been in cheerleading in forever. And all this other stuff. And the Apostate brings up other people. And she's like, who the fuck are you talking about others? What did you do? So we cut back to the home, to the house, while they're watching a little vampire movie. I think they're watching that Two Gun Kid versus Dracula movie I've heard so much about. Can they make that an actual movie? I would watch that. And so Lunella opens the door, and we see the person that was on the cover. It was that weird, creepy guy with the creepy smile who works for Emplate. Empath? What the fuck was his name again? I'm blanking so hard.
Empath, I guess.
No, it's not Empath. That's a Hellion. He's an asshole.
Oh.
Anyway, so he's like, "Hey, you wanna see something cool?" And so Brielle's running. She's running back home with a Apostate following her, and she's like, "Your girlfriend is adorable, Slayer, but better it ends this way." I was like, So she gets home, and she sees her friends and her mom tied up in chairs with the TV broken. In this economy, you know how expensive TVs are? That big? It's like a full-ass, large-ass flat screen TV on the wall, by the way. Couldn't it have made this a bit easier? Anyways. So she's
you
like...
get by with a phone for a bit, So...
Yeah. And so then Brielle is like... She puts her hands up so that no one gets hurt, and she sits in a chair with a binding circle, So, Emplate, yeah, I was right, Emplate. You can switch to the next picture. Emplate pulls the fuck up. Doing the thing that he does, he's like, who calls across the vastly deep, blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut up, we know it's you, Emplate. You don't have to do some fancy-ass speeches. And even the other guy is like, yeah, you can skip the blank verse, it's just us, you got what you want, and all this other stuff. And he's like, wait, this is wrong. I wanted the girl, her paramour mutant, the switcher girl, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's like, where is Escapade? He's like, no, I know this house. Oh shit, I recognize this fucking place. No, she was never supposed to see this. Oh my god. So can you cut to the next picture?
Yeah.
And so Brielle's mom is like, oh my god, Marion? What are you doing here? What the fuck? Long time no see. I'm glad you're not dead. Anyways, so we cut to the next issue. Push to the next cover, please.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
There we go.
So we were talking about Marvel Voices Avengers Academy 48, the vampire. It's like, motherfucker, technically he's not even a vampire, but technically he is because of the nature of his mutation, okay? Anyway, so he's like, my name is Marius St. Croix. I am a monster, but it was not always so. It's like, yes, we know you're related to Monet St. Croix, bitch. We know. For anyone who didn't know, Emplate is related to Penance, also known as Monet and Saint Paul. They're both rich bitches. Okay, we love them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, one got the better end of the stick when it came to the mutation.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
When you
and
said penance, I was thinking speedball for a sec. I'm like, oh,
not that
ooh,
penance.
yeah.
She also went by M, just like the letter M, but don't worry about it. Anyway, so he was,
Okay, okay.
was the disappointment child, and my sisters were the golden children. You get the
Yeah. Yo, which? Hey, can you guys hear me?
Well,
Oh, okay.
Transformers Prime is a show about the Autobots and Decepticons waging their war on Earth once again. And this time, we got 3 new protagonists: Jack, Miko, and Raphael. All right. There's also its only TV show where Starscream loses a fight to a human. You know?
Oh, whoa! What the heck? How far has he fallen? Come on.
Well,
All right,
well,
did he lose to a kid? Come on, come on. Let's.
he lost to a teenage girl. I think it was
Oh
14
boy.
years old. But you know what? In her defense, she had a suit of invincible armor, an invincible armor battle suit.
Question.
What's up?
Question, Jake. Was she? How old was she?
I think he's like 14.
Okay, okay, okay. Just asking. All right. So okay.
Yeah, he got his ass beat, and then he had to go explain to Megatron that he lost his. By the way, she stole his armor from him. That was his. Like that was his armor. She stole it from him. So
Wow.
yeah.
She made. Wow, she made his star scream from that humiliation, man's what I'm hearing, so.
And believe it or not, that's her second win against a Decepticon.
Mhm.
But
Okay,
back to our regular scheduled program.
which is back?
Oh shit! Hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Annette, sounds like you're from a distance, but we can still hear you, which.
Okay, I have my headphones on, so.
Gotcha. So go
Okay.
ahead.
So yeah, basically, I'm assuming I can assume where we left off.
Yeah.
Marius, before he mutated, he was talking to the gardener about a book he was reading, and they're flirting. It happens. Someone on Twitter asked if M Plate was gay, and the writer was like, "Don't worry about it. This is my fucking book. I can do whatever I want. If I wanted to change character lore, I definitely could." Hold on. Cool. I'm gonna switch back after this issue. So can you switch to the first picture after this cover?
Sure thing. There.
So his powers manifested. Not fun when you have weird mouse hands. I don't think anyone likes weird mouse hands. So his mom pulls up to see what happens, and unfortunately, he killed her because he didn't know what was happening, and his powers were so fresh. So yeah, he fled. He fled because obviously he didn't know what the fuck to do. Valid. So we cut to Blade and a lovely lady running after Emplate, who was just trying to survive in this cruel, cruel world. So hey Blade, Blade cameo. And so Blade tells the guy that Marius was eating, was consuming, I guess you could say, which is gay as hell, to run away and all this other stuff. And so you could probably guess who the other lady is. Pretty soon you'll guess who it is. And so she's like, something's weird, crosses don't work on him or silver or anything. And she's like, you're not a monster, you're just a child who's hungry and can't control his powers just yet. And all this other stuff. Keep in mind, her name is Saffron, if you didn't know. And basically Blade was like, you should just kill him. It's sad, but and I quote, suck heads and suck head. And I was like, is that supposed to be a slur or something? For vampires? Come on, Blade, you should know better. You're a damn peer. And so Saffron's like, if I believed that, Eric, we wouldn't have had a kid. Okay? Damn. Anyway, so she feeds Marius some of Blade's bloodlust formula, but it's a bit too strong for him, so she takes him back to her place. And she's not taking no for an answer. She's like, Blade, Eric, shut up. No, it's my house. It's my house. Not yours, mine. Okay? Just chill. Anyways, so we cut to the next morning where Marius wakes up in bed.
with bandages around his hand mouth. And so we cut to him waking up and him like sitting up, and he sees the little girl, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Brielle. Like, what happened to your wrist? Did you hurt yourself?" He switched to the next
Uh-huh.
person.
Okay, sure. There we go.
Yes. And so he's like, "Yeah, suppose I did." And she's like, "What happened?" And he was like, "I was born wrong." And she's like, "Don't be sad. Do you want to borrow my bear?" And all sorts of stuff. And he was having a good time. Like he felt like he was at home for once, even though he's having puking sessions because the pills aren't working. Because he's not a
Mm-hmm.
vampire. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. You
All
know.
right.
And keep in mind, Saffron was very, very understanding of this whole situation, which some people don't understand, which sucks for them. Anyways, so he decided he was gonna go to this books and oddity shop. So he's just going to an occult place, bitch. What? You want to get some crystals? You want to get some herbs? Me too, bitch. And so he meets this one guy, and he's like, "Are you George Baker?" And the guy's like, George Baker died in a car accident. Like, just like I'm just what they scraped off the road and all this other stuff." And so Marius takes off the bandages, and he's like, "Please, I'm lost. I'm diseased. I'm suffering. Like, I was told you can help me." All this other stuff. And Baker is like, "I see. The problem's not you, kid. The problem's this world. Like, fuck, it sucks and everything like that." And he starts speaking weird shit. And can you switch to the next picture? I don't remember what picture I
Yep.
put. Yeah,
There we
that's it.
go.
And so Mary starts reading this one book, and he's like, "Okay, I speak French very well, but I don't know this fucking word." And Baker's like, "Oh, it's old French, rarely used, and it's kind of tricky." Yeah, I heard what old French sounds like. It is weird as hell. You pronounce all the letters. All the letters are
Ooh,
present with how you say the word.
wow. Learn something every new audience.
Yeah, old languages are very interesting. Um,
Yep.
you should look into it when you get the chance.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Baker is like, it needs to be filled, or a wound that needs binding. A got undressed, a party accused, blah 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 blah. It's like, shut up. So basically, he summons like these ghost hands, and it like grabs Marius and everything like that. And he's doing like a summoning back at Brielle's place, old place, And she's like, "Marius, I heard, like, what are you doing?" And Marius tells Brielle to like get away from here because he doesn't want her to get hurt. And in turn, he damned himself. And basically, he's like, "Tell your mother I found it. Tell her I said thank you, and I won't be broken anymore." And he is consumed into this portal, and he's taken to that creepy place from a while ago when we first met Plate in this fucking book. And
Yeah.
Baker meets up with him, and he's like, "Hey, you made it through a rough ride, but it's all good. There used to be more staff, but you know what happened." And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"How do I get back? How do I get back home?" And Baker's like, "Back? This is your home now. What are you talking about?" And he's not happy about this. Like, you touch this vermin, I should fucking kill you for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he did not do that. But you know, Baker lives to serve, I guess. So they cut back to modern time, and Brielle's like, "Oh my god, I remember you now. We thought that Marius died." And Emplate's like, "Yeah, he did." And Saffron's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, honey," and all this other stuff. But Apotheosis
Yeah.
not happy about this. She's like, "Enough! You promised me a cure." And Emplate's like, "I lied. I lied. Like I was lied to."
Dang.
Motherfucker, look what happened to me. I have to wear a respirator every time I come out to Earth, dude. I wear a
Yeah.
respirator. Man. I'm like Bloodhound in Apex. And so can you cut
Mm-hmm.
to the last picture? So Apostate is really upset, and she's like, "Then I will take what I am owed in blood." And both
Oof.
Brielle and Emplate is what they're like, "Oh my god, no, wait, stop.
It
Not cool, man."
always ends. It always ends in blood when it comes to dealing with vampires, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah, because it's vampires, dude. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But anyways, that's the end of the issue. I will see you guys next time, but I will be right back. I'm going to switch back over to my phone.
Gotcha.
Okay, see
So,
you
all
later.
all right then. with that, we're moving on to the next topic, audience. So, Jake, it's all on you, man.
Yeah,
Doctor's orders.
yeah, we're reviewing Doctor Who season 3. Now I'm watching this with my good buddy Tony. All right, he was a Whovian before I ever was. Okay, he knows all the
Okay.
lore from the classic to the new era, and I think I just really wanted to watch this. I saw a couple clips, and I was like, you know what, give it a shot. Season 1, as I said before, was really enjoyable. It had some pacing issues episode wise, but like the overall story, I liked how it was just like one big story, and it just ends. And you could just end Doctor Who there, and you would just know everything you need to know. Season 2 was fun. It was one of the best relationship stories ever told in fiction to me. I liked how the relationship between the Doctor and his companion Rose Tyler, the legendary Rose Tyler, was very like authentic. Like I really felt these two had a spiritual connection with each other. It had its problems because like I didn't like how Rose treated my dog Mickey, bro. I feel like she Krypton, I don't know if I said it last time, but I'm gonna paint you a picture. There's like a scene. There's a scene where Rose's boyfriend is going off to die, basically. And he's like, he does the whole dramatic speech. By the way, the Doctor doesn't really like Mickey that much, but in this moment, he's like, you know what, Mickey, you got my respect. And you got my respect. And, someone's got
You do it. You do it.
you got my respect. So Mickey's like, yeah, Doctor, I'll see you later. And he walks off. Rose barely says anything about it. He walks off to go to a suicide mission. This poor man turns around. He hasn't even gone over the hill. And the Doctor and Rose, for some reason, have this really weird hug scene that has romantic undertones, and they're looking lovingly in each other's eyes. I'm like, your boyfriend's right there.
Yeah, that's just showing the boyfriend that your girlfriend's in good hands, man. Like, it can't be taken as that. Like,
it only would have been better if the Doctor turned to him with a little smile. Like, I was like, yo, what's going on? That's it. But season 2, it had some problems, but I did enjoy the ending. I enjoyed the whole story as a whole. It had a very tragic ending, which I have to recap for this season. Rose Tyler and the Doctor got separated in another universe. And if you know your Doctor Who lore, going to another timeline is nearly impossible because of how the universe is set up, and the universes are not supposed to cross over. So last time she went there, she had to, her dad from another timeline saved her to bring her there. She's stuck. She can't come back. And you really feel this. There's like a moment where like the Doctor, because there was a wall. There's like a wall on each. They're in the room that's opposite to their timeline, if that makes sense. So like the Doctor's like hugging the wall, and Rose is hugging her side of the wall, and you just feel and Rose is just crying, and the Doctor's just trying to hold it together.
God damn, dude.
And they have this scene where the Doctor finds this little space where, for just a brief moment, he can say his final words to Rose. And this scene is so heartbreaking because the Doctor says like, Rose, this is very hard for me to say, but I'm gonna say it. The truth is, Rose Tyler, and then he disappears before he says, "I love you."
Oh God, dude!
I was like, damn. And he realized he took so long to say it. You can see him start to cry. But there was no time for that because we had a Christmas special, which I will not get into because that's gonna be a whole other review. But yeah, now we're back to Doctor Who season 3, and the Doctor. Oh my God, this is the symbiote arc for the. This is the black suit saga for the Doctor.
Okay. Okay, we're about to get free to a dance number by the Doctors. What are you telling me, right, Jake?
Well, I mean, actually, you know what? We got that in season 1, actually, where Rose didn't know the Doctor could dance, and he proved to her that he could.
Okay.
If you could just see one scene of the Doctor and Rose Tyler together, you will believe these two are really in love. Okay, but anyway, the main theme of this season, because the first season was recovering from trauma, and Rose really helped the Doctor The doctor, the doctor's from a time war. All his people are dead. He's the last of his kind. He's alone. So Rose really opened his heart back up and gave him like happiness again. So in season 2, when we switch from Eccleston to David Tennant, that's the current doctor. David played a cheerful doctor. He was a very happy guy. And he had reasons to be. He had Rose Tyler, somebody who really understood him on a spiritual level. And that was a season about relationships and, toxic relationships as well. This season is about loneliness and breakups. Okay. Ooh. The doctor is essentially going through like what every man goes through when you got that one breakup that just hits too hard.
Yeah.
We have a new companion this season because the doctor is nothing without a companion. Her name is Martha Jones. I'll tell you right now, she ain't no Rose Tyler, all right?
Oh boy.
I want to like Martha, and there's a good story in there that's probably good for like, young women. But her story is so like you just feel you feel bad for her, really. Martha wants to go on an adventure like Rose does. She likes the doctor like Rose does. And like Rose does, she has a crush on the doctor. Although with Rose, it was more like it was a friendship that kind of bled into a crush. And it was kind of like they never really quite defined it was like a relationship. Rose and the doctor were never like confirmed on what they were. Martha clearly wants to fuck the doctor. To the point where she says, like, I think 4 episodes in, how much she like loves the doctor. 4 episodes that she loves the doctor. But the doctor, he ain't ready for a new relationship right now. Yeah. This is just I want to go on an adventure with somebody next to me. I don't want any strings attached. I just want a Rose Tyler. So, and this makes scenes very awkward with her because it's not that the doctor's incapable of romance. It's just that he doesn't feel that way with her. And and at times she like throws herself at the doctor. There's like lines where it's like, and we'll get into it later, but there's like an episode where she pretty much just confesses to him under the guise that she doesn't think he'll remember what she said. And then he has to just pretend like he didn't remember it. Like it's obvious he heard it, but he has to pretend. I think anytime she confesses her love for him, he's always like, that's weird. Yeah. So, and it's just hard to watch. But it winds up being this story about, she eventually winds up leaving the doctor at the end. And it's on good terms. Something very fucked up has just happened in the story, but she's like, you know what? It made me realize I want to stay home. And then she leaves it at that, but then she comes back and she's like, doctor, I had a friend who was in a bad relationship and she loved this guy, but like this guy didn't love her back. And I kept telling her to get out of that relationship, but she just wouldn't do it. And now I'm that girl.
Yeah.
And so I got to get out of this relationship. And he's like, no, I understand. I get it. Yeah. And, but yeah, that's Martha's story. Does she have her moments? Yes, but it's not as good as Rose's. And I think that's kind of the point. But oh my God, David Tennant. This dude is the definition. Every scene I see him in, every episode I see him in, I'm like, were you actually going through some shit? Like,
oh, dude. Whoa.
Every scene, every episode, like we see like how dark the doctor can get. And no episode caters to that more than the 2-parter where the doctor gets hunted. I'm going to tell you guys a story. And I said this yesterday. If the doctor was in Gotham, Joker would not exist. Okay, there would never be. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. There's an episode, a 2-parter, where the doctor starts off, he and Martha are on the run. The ship is being attacked by these hunters, and the doctor says we can't escape them. They're going to hunt us through all time and space. So I'm going to get rid of my memory. And I'm going to erase my memory. I'm going to pretend to be human. I'm going to give up my Time Lord powers. Martha, you're going to be in charge of giving me my memories back when these creatures have either fucked off or died off. Okay? But don't do it a moment too soon unless if you absolutely need me. And so he gives up his memories. And he goes to I think this right before World War I happens. And he's in charge of, he's a teacher. He's a professor at a boarding school. His name is John Smith, or something like that. I believe that's his fake name he always uses. And he builds a life for himself. He has like this woman that he's into. That's also not Martha. This does come up. He's a teacher. He's an educator to young men at a military school. And I do like how they show that like these kids are actually learning how to fight in a war that they're not sure if they're gonna actually fight in. So
yeah.
But anyway, eventually these hunters find him, and it gets kind of bad. They kill 2 kids and 2 professors, and they take their skin so they can live inside of them, basically. And so the aliens, there's like a father, there's a mother, there's a daughter, and a son.
Mm-hmm.
And they force the kids, the rest of the students, to get into a shootout with an army of evil scarecrows and all this shit. And then the doctor, who is not the doctor, like he's at this point, this new personality is a different person. Like he doesn't believe he is Doctor Who. He believes he's John Smith, whatever. And and so John Smith is like, I don't want to be the doctor. This doctor guy sounds like terrible. I don't want to be this guy. So they can't convince him to give up his identity. Eventually, though, he does. Like eventually he does become the doctor, but it costs him like but they describe it like he basically killed himself so he could be the doctor again. And so the doctor, like, you know, so the aliens keep trying to get the doctor's power, so the doctor shows up on their ship and he blows it up. And then one of the aliens goes, you know, at first we hunted the doctor and the doctor ran away from us and we thought it was because he was scared of us.
Mm-hmm.
But today we realized he was just giving us a chance to stop. And then what happens is the villain narrates what happens. The doctor takes the father. He just kills that motherfucker. Okay.
Oh, damn.
He goes to the mother and he throws her into the heart of a son and he watches her die. He goes to the daughter, who's like a little girl. He goes to the daughter and the guy says, yeah, as for my sister, he trapped her in a mirror dimension of which she could never escape. Anytime you think you see something in the mirror and it's not you, it's probably her. And once a year, the doctor visits her. And I like to think that someday he'll forgive her, but until then, she'll be trapped in that mirror forever.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? And as for me, the son, and the doctor trapped the son on a scarecrow, basically, which he can't move and can't escape. And he's going to be there for the rest of existence until humanity dies.
Yeah.
And this is the type of time in the doctor's office because his patience is like 0 for a lot of people. Even in the Christmas special, there's a villain who's like a spider queen and she wants to like take over the planet or whatever. And the doctor says like, I'm giving you like a warning, like please, like don't make me have to take you seriously because if I do, you're not gonna like what happens. And she's like, oh, whatever. And the doctor's response is he burns her and all her babies. Like,
what the fuck, man?
And he just watches them as they scream and burn alive. It's like, holy shit. This
you would think somebody of the title of doctor would be acting in this situation with burnt babies, man.
Well, this is what we realized that the doctor is like he is a pacifist to a fault. He doesn't fight. Like he doesn't get into physical fisticuffs with people. He likes to outthink a situation. But if you fucking push him hard enough, like he will give you every chance you have to stop. But if you push him too hard, you will die or be tortured or worse. So, we also have a surprise cameo, although at the time it wasn't really a cameo. He was just a no-name actor. Andrew Garfield's in this fucking season. So, he got to show up in a Dalek episode, and this episode was actually interesting. So if you guys remember, the Daleks are one of the 3 main enemies of the Doctor.
Exterminate!
Yeah, exterminate! They're the Nazi party in the Doctor Who universe. But this episode was like, what if a Nazi grew a heart? So this was a 2-parter where the Daleks there's only 4 Daleks left in the universe. Why? Because the Doctor killed all of them. Okay, there's only 4 Daleks in the timeline, and their objective is to find a way for the Daleks to live on. And they want to combine themselves, and one of them wants to combine themselves with human DNA, so it can be like a new species that can like procreate and make more like Daleks and all this shit. But in doing that, he adopts the human spirit. And I do like how this is played. At first, he's still evil and all this shit, but then the Daleks start doing their exterminate shit, and he's like, "Oh, this doesn't really feel good to me anymore." And the Doctor, who I'm convinced is suicidal at this point, because he's just like, "You know what? Kill me! Just kill me and get it over with. Just don't kill anyone. Kill me!" And the Dalek Supreme, he goes like, "Wait, no, don't kill him. Like, maybe bring him over here." And you can see the Daleks in the back, because the other Daleks in the back, they look at him like, "Oh, this motherfucker, we're gonna have to get rid of him, huh?" So, it winds up being a story about how like the unwillingness to change and adapt to the new world and to the new society. Basically, it's like the consequence of not integrating yourself with other people. The Daleks could have just all become more human and they would have lived on forever. By the end of this episode, the Doctor kills all but one of the Daleks. And there's only one Dalek left. And the Doctor says, like, "Listen, I know what it's like to be alone. And I know you're my most hated enemy and you hate me. But, like, you're the last of your kind. I'm the last of mine. Let's just try to find some peace." And the Dalek's like, "Nah, fuck you," and teleports away. And so there is one Dalek left out there. We also have some fun episodes, too. I do like how Doctor Who's committed to making sure that in every episode they spend the budget on something. And we had the Lazarus episode where we fought a Resident Evil villain. But yes, but our finale villain. So every Doctor Who finale features a villain from the OG series. The first season was the Daleks. The second season was the Cybermen. The third season, we get the return of the Master. Okay. The Master is the Doctor's arch rival, arch nemesis. He is another Time Lord. At the beginning of the series, we are told that, "Doctor, you may think you're the last Time Lord, but there is another." And through some shenanigans, we find out that there was that the Master had survived the events of the Time War. The Master is much like Doctor Doom in the sense of he just hates the Doctor. I just don't like you. I just want to make your life miserable. But he has this weird obsession with the Doctor where he can't like kill him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he can't bring himself to like kill the Doctor. He just wants to rub it in his face. What happened during the Time War was while the Doctor fought on the front lines, the Master, ironically, was a deserter of the war. He ran away. He didn't fight in the Time War, and he hid himself at the end of human civilization 5 trillion years in the future. And he became, and he got rid of his memories using the same device the Doctor did in that one episode I told you about. And so coincidentally, the Doctor shows up 5 trillion years later, and he accidentally triggers his memory, and he gets his powers back. And because of this, the Doctor goes back to the far future of, what was it, 2007, and the Master runs for office for British Parliament, and he becomes the Prime Minister of Britain. And in his first order of business, he assassinates the President of the United States of America.
Oh, good. Why? What the? Where did that come from?
And I said, like, all right, listen, like, I know in Doctor Who, y'all like to pretend y'all the center of the universe, but that would not go well.
No.
I'm sorry, you can't just assassinate the President of the United States and not expect a nuke in the face.
Yeah.
But luckily, the Master had a plan for that. He used these little bots to basically kill 1/10 of the human population. And this is what it looked like, by the way. So he did some Age of Ultron shit. It was at this moment where I realized that Doctor Who is an Avenger. Okay, and he should be on an Avenger team.
Okay.
But yeah, this dealt with the two-parter where the doctor got turned into an old man by the master, and also the master put him in a dog kennel and makes him crawl out every day eating out of a dog plate. That actually happened. I'm not making that up. Okay. And the plot was that the doctor was so cognizant of how to beat the master, he was willing to stick out torture for a year and for his plan to kick off. And eventually the plan works and he does beat the master and all that stuff. But when it's all said and done, despite everything the master did, the doctor forgives him because, as he told the Dalek, we are the last of our kind. We can't afford to hate each other anymore. Like, we have to be friends now. Too bad that there was this girl that it's implied that he sexually assaulted for a year, and that girl just fucking shot him.
Good Lord, dude.
And the doctor was like, no, wait. And so he tries to save the master, and he tells the master, like, just regenerate. Like, you can regenerate and become a different actor. And we'll just be, and, you know, sure, I'll have to imprison you because you're a psychopath, but, you know, we'll be friends. And the master said, like, nah.
Yeah.
And he was like, what do you mean, nah? He's like, I would rather die than let you be happy. And so in my final breath, I finally beat you. I'm dying out of spite. He just kills himself.
Oh man, dude.
Oh, my bad. And so yeah, the doctor is Martha dumps the doctor. The master's dead, and the doctor's alone again. He's exactly where he started at the beginning of the season. He has no friends. It's the travel the universe by himself. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
Oh my. That's one lonely doctor here, audience, you know?
True. And he's forced to travel the cosmos and save lives, and, you know, and people will die, but he has to keep this. All he has is the adventure. Luckily, as the season ends, the Titanic breaks through his ship, so he has to go figure out what that's about. Doctor Who season 3 is the darkest of the original trilogy, and I think, and you know, sometimes people, when things get dark, it gets self-indulgent. But I actually really love this season. I think story-wise, it's better than season 1, even though I like season 1 more. And David Tennant, oh my fucking God. If you want to see a 10 out of 10 acting for an entire season, look no further than this. I now understand why people love David Tennant's Doctor. This is the season that really sold me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking good. And I love how he can, and I love how much of a psychopath he can be. He can go from being a cold-hearted son of a bitch. Like, remember that torture session I told you about that he did?
Yeah.
Right after that, he goes to Martha like nothing happened. He's like, all right, so let's go off to another adventure then. After torturing these people. So he could go from being that cheerful doctor because you know he's just hiding how much he's really hurting, to that doctor who's in pain, who's compassionate. But there's also a sense of like heroism in him. Like, he really feels like a genuine hero, even if he has his dark moments. And I think he's like somehow one of my favorite heroes in fiction.
Okay.
So I highly recommend the first 3 seasons of Doctor Who. I'm on season 4 right now, which will be the last of the Russell T Davidson era. After this, Doctor Who gets a new. Think of it like in the comic book terms, we go from Chip Zdarsky to Dan Slott. That's basically what. We'll see where the future holds after this.
Yeah, we'll see what the slot machine has in store for y'all, you know. So
yes, yeah. So far, I'm really enjoying Doctor Who 2005. Highly recommend you guys watch it. It really does, and every season feels like a movie, like one long movie about the Doctor. It's really good. I don't know how else to explain it. But yeah, go watch Doctor Who. It's good.
All right. Sounds good. But alrighty then, audience. I guess with that, we can move on to the next book. So, The Fantastic Zero, number 33, audience. a quote-unquote tie into One World Under Doom. Now, Casey needs up-to-date info about what's going on with this tie-in. Remember, Thing doesn't have his powers anymore. And that kind of screws the team up because apparently I don't know who wrote this rule, but it states that if one because they all got their powers at once, right? If one of them loses their power, and then that means the all four of them will be losing their power. So like, oh boy. So they kind of need to kickstart Thing getting his powers back. Which okay, at first they decided, okay, let's try not messing with the time stream by going back in the past and having Ben be part of the cosmic rays hitting them, right? Let's go to other dimensions and have Ben be right at the spot where they get hit by cosmic radiations. Uh, yeah, what could go wrong? Okay,
But
things.
that's what I expect from Reed Richards. Okay.
Oh, wait till you hear this, right? So when they realized that, okay, maybe going to all these different universes and pumping Ben full of gamma radiation, that might not be the smartest move to go to. So let's go back so far into the past. You all heard of the butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
Well, screw the butterfly effect. We're going so far back in the past that it can't possibly affect the future. That's right, audience. Their big master plan to get Ben Grimm's powers back is to go back to the Big Bang.
Okay.
Whatever works, I guess.
Yeah. This is the part where Jake will probably hand Reed Richards a bag of popcorn, saying, "Yeah, you also pop these kernels for me while you're there."
This always bothered me about the Fantastic Four, which is why I'm glad they tried to do it if they have Four Stick. But like, doesn't Galactus owe y'all a favor? It's cosmic rays. Can't you just give you your powers back?
Just go into space normally.
I know it's what cosmic rays are really whatever the writer decides it ought to be.
But when you call it the power cosmic, and the thing that gave you powers is cosmic rays, I would be like, oh, okay.
Gotcha. Look, this is Jake wanting to argue logic with Mr. Fantastic yet again, audience.
Maybe you should be better at it.
Okay. Oh, and to be quite frank, it's actually Valeria who comes up with this idea. So
Well,
yay, the spawn of Reed Richards.
well, she needs to spend more time with him.
Gotcha. So anyway, they go through the science of this and they realize like, okay, we can't actually stay there for long because that's going to also risk endangering our health and this and that. So the idea is we'll go back for 1 nanosecond. That'll be enough time for Ben to get enough radiation to kickstart his powers again. So what they ended up having to do was really upgrade Herbie, because hey, 1 nanosecond is way faster than the speed of thought of a human. So they gotta make sure that Herbie could think on a nanosecond sort of capacity in order to hey, bring them all back. Go there for a nanosecond in the timing of the Big Bang, and then get out before you even think about it. So yeah, that's pretty much what ends up happening. There's a lot of science mumbo jumbo here. Audience, I'm not a science whiz. I don't usually watch like the Doctor Who's or the Star Trek and that stuff. This is Jake's forte. He should be reading this book, but hey, I have to pick up the slack. So all right. Long story short, Ben gets his powers back. He gives the whole family a big hug. Yeah, the next writer who writes Fantastic Four, I want you to keep in mind there's this point right here where Ben is thankful to Reed and the rest of the family for giving him back his rock powers.
We will not. We will ignore
that. We will see, man. We will see. So yeah, there's a heart-to-heart moment between Valeria and Reed, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the issue. Next one, you definitely have to have the Fantastic Four go after Doom at that point. Like this whole thing about Ben, losing his powers is just really the writer's excuse for trying to get the Fantastic Four out of the way, so I guess he can continue writing his Doom stuff for One World Under Doom. But now they don't have an excuse anymore, audience. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Man, popcorn made of cosmic rays must sound so delicious, audience, especially if it's created by the Big Bang.
I don't know, man. I think there might be a lot of radiation in there. I would not recommend.
We'll see. But yeah, that's really it for the Fantastic Zero number 33, audience. So, all right, with that, we'll move on to the next book. It's here. It's here, audience. You know the old saying, all great things must come to an end.
Yeah,
So,
shitty things too.
oh, I'm sorry this 10-year-old doesn't have an Omnitrix watch. I can make him turn into anything, Jake. All right? I'm sorry.
You know what they would say? Get good.
Yeah. I don't hear people complaining about the Powerpuff Girls being superheroes. I mean, they're not even 10 years
I guess
old.
because there's fucking Kryptonians, so I think we're okay with it.
How many times have they gotten their butts beaten? Jake? Come on.
Listen, if the Powerpuff Girls can't do it, we all die. That's a lot different, okay?
Okay. But yeah, we're talking.
Never forget the episode. They took a break for a day and the world ended. So I don't know.
No, I remember one episode where they were just taking a break in the clouds, and they just let all the civilians handle the stuff.
And they almost died doing it. That instruct them how to do it. They were stupid.
Yeah, they had. Okay. So they do too much, so they're making humanity lazy. Is what you're telling me?
It is possible. That is Lex Luthor's argument.
Gotcha. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Powerpuff Girls. We're here to talk about Spider-Boy number 20. So yeah, this is the finale, audience, and if you need a refresher of what happened in the last issue, Bailey concocted a plan that would result in Mr. Negative getting arrested, and this ends with with Spider-Man taking Bailey's costume, say this partnership is over, your Spider-Boy days are done, and Bailey's like, but what's like, dude, I was awesome here, man. We caught Mr. Negative. What's wrong with you, Spider-Man? And Spider-Man's whole thing is, yeah, but you took the fight to Mr. Negative. You endangered the police. You endangered the bank employees, the customers. You endangered my aunt, you little beep. Okay, he didn't say that little beep, but you know Peter was sick of that,
All right, listen, Peter. First off, I hate to do this, but like you would probably have made the similar mistakes on your first run. All right.
I think that's why he is so hard on Bailey.
No, that's fine, but it's like my issue isn't even that. It's just that he's 10. It's like I'm more worried about his safety as a child, but like he's like, no, you just didn't. You weren't a superhero 100%, right? I'm like that's just like a beginner thing. I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But look at it this way, Jake. In Spider-Man's eyes, Bailey helped take down an A-list villain like Mr. Negative, So, yeah, at least he's above a C-list. But anyway, this is where Bailey kind of brings up his counter-argument, saying, look, Spider-Man, nobody was ever in danger. Now, just give me back my clothes, all right? Yeah, so they have like a big tug-of-war between Bailey and Peter. Okay, yeah. And what did Tony Stark do immediately after saying that quote? He took the clothes off a miner. Yeah. Amazing how like a little jump scene bounces a wild that. All right.
Don't say it like that. He told Peter to take it off, and Peter took it off. All right.
Okay. Yeah. At least he had a miner take his clothes off with his consent, right? That makes it better. Okay. And this isn't consent here, Jake. Let's put it that way, all right? There's a tug of war going on between Bailey and Peter, and it got to a point where Bailey said, okay, look, you want me to prove to you that I had everything under control? Here, look at this. He whistles, and all of a sudden, the gaping maw appears. Remember, audience, in that whole Dragon Tooth tournament between that Bailey and Daredevil went through in the last arc? Yeah, because Bailey wins, he now has a whole legion of unstoppable ninja warriors at his disposal, and they could come up at any given moment. So Bailey's like, yeah, I had these guys surveilling the area. They were going to make sure no civilians got harmed in the wake of Mr. Negative's actions. And you know what? Keep the suit, Spider-Man. I don't need it. I could go off on my own. For God's sakes, with all these guys, I could build my own suit again. You know? So, yeah, Peter just,
So
Bailey
you're
just kind of gives.
saying Peter probably should have put a stop to Spider-Boy before this point, so this never happened? I'm just saying.
Oh boy.
Well,
I guess so. Peter didn't know about the whole Gape and Maw situation. He goes to talk about this with Daredevil, right? And they're like contemplating this, and yeah, like even though Bailey might be using this great power for good right now, and is using it responsibly, he's still a child, and he could easily be corrupted with all this power. So yeah, both Spider-Man, Daredevil are both going to try teaming up to, let's just say, convince Bailey to lose his legion of unstoppable warriors, right? So as this is happening, like Bailey has the warriors lead him to his new underground lair. Like, whoa, lair? Like what? Whoa. Like that sounds like a villain right there.
it's weird.
Huh?
Daredevil make a Shadowlands connection here. But
It's funny you should mention Shadowland, right? So, yeah, the Gaping Maw. They're bringing him to his new fortress. Uh, first things first. Bailey doesn't want this to be referred to as a lair because that sounds like a villain. Oh, they're like, oh, okay. Would you rather us call it the Hidden Temple? Nah, too religious. The Secret Fortress? Nah. How about headquarters? Okay, we'll call it the headquarters.
I want you to know that turtles call their home the lair.
Okay. Take some advice from.
Dude.
Yeah, take some advice from like creatures that live in the sewers, Jake. Right?
Yeah.
What tell me?
When they're better heroes than him, yeah.
Oh, just you wait. But anyway, so they bring him to his headquarters, and they give him his new suit. Audience. Bam! Look at that. He gets a new suit.
It looks so derivative of something. I feel like I've seen this before somewhere.
Oh, come on. There's thousands of Spider-Man designs, Jake. Come on, yo.
Looks like a suit that would give Miles in that fucking Spidey and His Amazing Friends show.
Nah. Miles will be more red than blue in this. Come on. There's millions of...
Actually, Cryptid, it would be more black.
Yeah, but like there will be more emphasis on the red and black with Miles. Here, it's blue and black with Bailey, audience. And I say it looks pretty damn darn good. And yeah, this is where the big moment happens. Look at that. All hail to Spider-Boy's new alias, Lord Spider.
Hell nah, you're too young to be.
Look at that. He just went up in the world, audience. Once he's through being a boy, he'll be a lord. He'll be your lord and savior, audience. So yeah. I think that's a pretty dope name, Witch. Come on, Lord Spider. You know?
He's too young to be calling himself Lord
No, I
Spider.
agree. That's like for a kid, I'm like, yo, whose goofy kid is this, bro?
Like that's the name that you would give yourself when you're in middle school and trying to be edgy.
No, that's the name he's gonna grow up and be like, yo, what the hell did I do back then? That's so terrible.
I gotta say he's wearing the throne pretty well, and he has the unstoppable ninjas. Like hey, he's using them pretty dopely. So. Yeah, I think he earned the title of Lord, Jake.
I think
how many people do you know have won the deadliest martial arts tournaments in the world?
He's 10 inches too small.
Okay. So yeah. So what's the first thing? Lord Spider. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna start referring to Bailey Briggs as Lord Spider, audience, from now on. So
yeah, you're just telling the world that you're worshiping a child.
Okay. Hey, I know an A-lister when I see it, Jake. Mark
He's
my
not
words.
a C-lister, bitch.
Bailey's
He's
gonna
a
go off to do
C-lister
bigger.
at best.
He's gonna go off to do bigger and better things, which he has more
I highly
merchandise.
doubt it. We said that. We say that about a lot of characters, but look at where we are now.
He's had
Is
more
a
success.
C-lister at best.
He's had more success in the past few years than most cast characters have had in their
What
whole
Bailey?
entirety.
What Bailey be doing, bro?
What was that, Jake?
What's Bailey doing? What's little bro? What's little bro doing, bro?
Okay. Let's look what Lord Spider is choosing to do with his unstoppable
No, he's
ninjas,
going by
right?
Spider Boy, man.
Okay. But anyway, so we go back to like the farm, where Madame Monstrosity had all her tech subjects. She's now held prisoner by the High Evolutionary. She still has all her test subjects, still at the farm. They're humans that got spliced with other animals, right? So what does Bailey do? He rents a bus and uses the funding that the Gapping Maw have collected across the world to come and build machines to help unsplice everybody. Wow, audience. Can you roast him for doing something so commendable?
Yes.
So good?
Yeah.
He's thinking of others, right? He's helping them,
Yeah. Well,
He helped.
I think about this all the time. He wants a medal. All right. I think we all think about it.
He just wants some recognition, maybe a pat on the shoulder or a blue ribbon, Jake. Come on,
He's a superhero and wants recognition.
He saved a guy who got spiced with a worm.
Yeah, Captain America is next to godliness, so we all have to aspire.
Okay. But anyway, so pretty much everybody gets to be defused except for Bailey's friend Elefino, because in his situation he got spliced with two animals, an elephant and a rhino. So yeah. So basically, it's only Elefino and Bailey who are the only ones who can't be unspliced. So. Ooh, things are looking down for Elefino, but then that's when Bailey came up to him and saying, "Look, oh wait, let me read this actually. Do 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 do, do do do. I must remember. Okay, so Elefino is like feeling angry, feeling depressed, like saying, "Everybody gets to go back home except for me. I have to go back into hiding." And Bailey gives like a little great pep talk here, saying, "You really think those are your only options? Stay hiding or be what everybody expects you to be? A monster? Well, let me tell you something. There's a third option.
Secret
How
third.
about, yep. How about this, Elefino? Be my sidekick. Doo-doo-doo. Look at that.
He looks like
Give a breath.
That looks like the costume that the wizard would wear.
I know. Hey, you can't wear a costume that collides with Bailey's colors, but I gotta say, wow, look at that! From sidekick to having his own sidekick. When have you seen that, audience? I don't think I've seen Dick Grayson ever have as his own sidekick, did he?
Oh, hold on.
He doesn't need one.
He did. When he became Batman, he had a Robin. That was in the that was in the war for the battle for the cow.
Okay, Jake, and how long did that take him?
For his mantle, when he became Batman, it was like almost instant. Really?
Okay, how long did it take him in his whole entire continuity? How long did it take him to have a sidekick?
Well,
wasn't it Tim Drake? Or was that Azazel?
Is that it? No. When in the battle of the cow. By the way, I only know the story from long ago, so I just know he had a Robin. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was Tim. I think Red Hood was the villain.
Well, I'll say this: Bailey's been around for 3 years, and look at that! In 3 years, he's already had his own sidekick now. Audience, yeah, Lord Spider and Elefino, audience, teaming up. Ding, 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 ding. So, alright then. So this is where you're thinking like, okay, when is the point where Bailey gets all this power to corrupt his little brain, right, audience? You see, he doesn't actually. When Spider-Man and Daredevil go back to the Feast Center to see if they can find Bailey, they find that it's being demolished because apparently Bailey's using the funds that his Legion have collected to help do some more construction for the Feast Center. You know, an organization in New York to help the homeless people of New York audience. He's using it to build it bigger, better. Oh, and also Christine, Bailey's friend, who's kind of like acting like her older sister. Yeah, they're using Bailey used this opportunity to have her dad be part of the construction crew behind this. So look at that. Bailey helped his best friend's family get a job. Wow. Wow. Yeah, yeah. Come on. Let's see. Anybody have anything bad to say? Come on. This little
No,
guy.
I'm too busy
happened?
trying to help this woman with her cheating husband in a game.
Okay. Jake,
What
come on. Come on. Where's your roast? Come on. Where's the roast succession? Come on. No. Bailey's helping a community center dedicated to helping homeless people in New York, and he's
he
using
does
the
what
funds.
Upmade does. He does what Upmade does easily every day. All right. Good job.
Oh, and he's building it bigger and giving it more resources. Jake,
He's overcompensating because he's a
He's 10.
small
Where's he
child.
getting these resources from?
from the ninja horde that he has, which the unstoppable ninja horde.
Yeah, and they're totally calling him Spider Lord or whatever the fuck.
Okay,
wait,
so
actually,
Would name themselves on like MySpace or Vampire Freaks.
you know what? Expand it. You know what? You shouldn't even expand it. We already had an Invincible episode about this. You didn't see this, Cryptid. There's an episode called Invincible where Adam Eve is like, "Why is the city taking so long to repair everything? I could do it myself. I could make it whatever I want." And she remakes like a whole apartment complex for people. And then she finds on the news that apartment complex broke down. There's a reason you don't just mindlessly make stuff, okay? On a city, because there was actually a structural issue. So it's actually putting those people in danger. Okay.
Well, Jake, I'm sorry that Bailey's looking to help his friends' parents get a job in the construction department, Jake.
How about he goes through the proper channels? Right?
Okay, let me read exactly what Christine is saying. Look around you. This is what Bailey's been doing with the Gaping Maw's resources. He's expanding the Feast Center so it can help more people, and he's giving them funds to hire more staff. Like my dad. He's going to be the super, and we'll actually be getting our own apartment next to Bailey's.
You know what's crazy? It's the same thing in Invincible, and that went horribly wrong. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Aren't homeless people getting a full belly out of this, Jake?
Well, are they going to belly so they get a roof dropped over them because it wasn't built correctly?
You don't think they're going through all the proper channels to make a building safe, Jake?
Absolutely not. They don't know. He's 10. He doesn't know building code.
Jake, he is hiring people to do that. These are construction workers.
People. He's 10.
He's using actual construction workers here, Jake. They know what they're doing. You know.
All right. We'll see.
He's not like trying to skip out on any expenses. He's treating these people right, Jake. You know. Heck, he could have, Jake. Look at it this way. He could have used the money to go buy a mansion for him and his mom, but instead he's actually still going to be living in this Feast Center, right?
Well, no,
yeah. Great responsibility for a 10-year-old, Jake.
He lives in a lair.
That's his headquarters, Jake. Okay. So
it's his lair. If he's calling himself Lord Spider, it's a lair.
Okay. So anyway, Daredevil and Spider-Man are kind of contemplating this. They still think they kind of need to put a stop to Bailey with the whole unstoppable ninja henchman that he has. Sorry, not henchman, Legion. They're his Legion. All right, henchman sounds like a villain. But anyway. So they tell Christine to tell them where Bailey is at. Okay, you want to know where Bailey is at? Look up in the sky. That's right. Bailey is out there stopping the villain the Emilio Helio, the Balloon Man, right? Yeah, audience, remember
Twister, like how Spider-Man told him to.
Emilio Helio is one of Spider-Boy's villains, audience. He's basically the Magneto of gases. He can control gas, and unfortunately, he can only breathe in helium. So yeah, every time he talks, he has to talk in a high-pitched voice, you know? So let me read a couple of his lines here. Breathing phone speak on our face gas being behalf of Professor Emilio Helio, the Balloon Man.
I have
Yeah. Yeah, I have to talk like in a high-pitched voice because that's how Emilio Helio sounds, you know? When your mouth is filled with helium after all, you know. So yeah, Bailey is fighting off against him along with his basically the Spider-Boy family here, audience. He brings in Elefino, he brings in Boy Spider, Hulkette, even Spider-Girl comes to help him, you know? They all, with the power of teamwork, defeat Emilio Helio. Wow, good moral lessons from a 10-year-old child, audience. Teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, you know? So, yeah. Oh, and all that helium that Elefino was able to suck up, that actually brought his voice back to his 10-year-old voice self. Because before, because since he was an elephant rhino hybrid, he had a very deep macho voice, even though he's around the same age as Bailey. But now his voice is back to normal, at least. So, hey, look at the small victories, is what I'm trying to say. But, yeah, anyway, this is kind of when they had the conversation between Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Spider-Boy. They're like, look, Bailey, we know you mean well and all, but you gotta give these guys back their freedom. He's referring to the Ninja Warriors. Look, even they start taking their masks off and say, look, we are the most dangerous force on Earth. This is kind of not the stuff we trained for, all right? Kind of helping the community and, building up shelters, this and that. And even Toy Soldier comes in to help to have a talk, sit down with Bailey about, like, look, you need to give these guys freedom too. I mean, you had a chance to make me your servant too, Bailey, but instead you gave me free will. So that's what convinced Bailey to let them all go. He says, let's see. Okay, stay in the shadows and try to do good wherever you can. Those are my final orders, man. So, yeah, the unstoppable ninja force that Bailey could have had for the rest of his life, he instead let them have their freedom.
Because he's an idiot.
What, Jake? What?
You want to keep a ninja army as a child, then you're stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, Jake. I'm sure, like some people could say Aladdin made a stupid decision when he gave Genie back his freedom. You know, you could have wished for infinite amount of wishes instead of giving him freedom.
Jake, a man who served for 10,000 years as from slavery.
And these people were spent their whole lives training to be serving the winner of this martial arts tournament, Jake.
They were well fed, they were well kept, they were well maintained, and they were allowed to talk during dinner. So they were fun.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. So anyway, Bailey gets them all to be free. Daredevil gives Bailey the thumbs up and for doing the right thing, and Spider-Man's kind of like giving him the cold shoulder, saying, "Yeah, eventually he did the right thing." Like, God dang it, Spider-Man! Come on, cut him some slack. But this is where we kind of get a heartfelt moment between Bailey and Toy Soldier, because Toy Soldier is saying, "Look, well, I'm proud of you, Spider-Boy, and there's also something you should know. Since I possess the powers, ability, and attributes of every Avenger, page, that also includes Spider-Man. And I know how he thinks. And even though he won't say it, he's proud of you, Bailey Briggs." I can imagine if Toy Soldier were to copy Jake and Wedge, he'll be telling that these two think Spider-Boy did a good job.
That's crazy. I don't even think that doesn't even sound like Peter. I feel like Peter would tell someone that he's proud of them like easily if he wanted to.
Oh, you mean how like that fight between Supernova and Spider-Man resulted in Bailey Briggs going to the hospital and Spider-Man telling Bailey, "You're my hero," right? Right,
Yeah,
Jake?
well, did he? I don't remember. Did he actually say that?
Yeah, he actually said that.
Okay, so why can't he just say that he's proud of him if he really believes it? Like this is gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I guess it just wasn't the right frame of mind. Like he expected Bailey to be more going down the dark path, but he was actually a really good kid, you know. So anyway, we get to the last picture, audience. Yes, so it's Bailey and Spider-Man swinging, or in Bailey's case, jumping around. Because remember, Bailey still doesn't have spider webs. He's the webless wanderer, but he still does good with what he has. You know. And yeah, we're bound to see more further adventures of Bailey Briggs in the future, audience, even though this is the end of his series. And we do get a letters page with Dan Slott, doing the shit that like every writer would get when it comes to finale of a new character they made. Thanking everybody for contributing to this book. It was a blast. The creative team was awesome. This and that, and this wouldn't be possible without you. And I could just only imagine Dan Slott pointing at me saying, "You, the fans." Like, yes. Spider-Boy, you've had more success as a character than most characters nowadays will have in their entire lifespan. So,
yeah, let's see where that happens.
okay, now give your roasting sessions, guys. Go ahead.
Actually, no, I do have a problem with the story. It's just that, like, jokes aside, I do feel like Billy really should have probably done something like darker with the. I'm not saying he should kill people, but like he's a child. So it's weird that he doesn't really like the plot twist that he's not corrupted. But one of the things that like I would say he has to be this character. But one of the things I liked about Ben Tennyson when he was a 10-year-old was that like he was a 10-year-old with those powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he would pull pranks, he would abuse his powers to get like short-term game, like nothing like crazy. And it just made him like a more relatable 10-year-old. I'm not saying Bailey has to do all that stuff, but it would be nice to know, like, yeah, maybe some of you can do a little bit of my homework, like maybe that could have even been it. It could have been like it starts with small things, like maybe you can help me shortcut. Like he's helping people, but he's also saying like, well, I don't need all of it. Maybe some of you can do this over here, and then it becomes more like, well, maybe like I don't need to be a hero at all. I just let you do all the work, something like that.
Hey, this is what happened. This is where having good moral compasses around you comes in. Because hey, remember there were times where Bailey, when he would save someone's life, they'll be like, "How could I ever repay you for saving my life, Spider Boy?" Bailey would be saying, "Yeah, $50."
Yeah,
like, come on, yo.
Yeah, I mean, like that could have been even that was since that was in the story. That could have actually been a callback to that moment where like Bailey has to be like, oh. Like, yeah, I can't.
But then you have his older sister Christine coming in saying, "You can't do that stuff like that. You're supposed to be a hero."
Yeah, so I think does that more for a finale. I think I just needed more of a test for Billy. It's more like he just kind of did the right thing the whole time. I think it's kind of boring.
I don't know. I just feel like we should have the how do I say it? Like we need to see the repercussions of what being a child hero does to a person. Because basically, I'm not saying he's throwing away his life to be a superhero, but at the same time, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's not letting himself be a child with his new chance of life. If you get what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I feel like, a lot of times we might skip over that just because, like, we've seen the tropes before, but like, that is the territory of putting kids in superhero positions.
Yeah. This is why you need good moral authorities around you at this point in his life, So, yeah, so good. Which, do you have any last minute roasting sessions for Bailey?
At the moment, no, but I might think of some later.
Gotcha. Lord Spider audience, make that a thing, So, all right. Okay, I guess with that we can move on to the next.
Yes. It's been a while, so we're gonna recap the Bionicle story so that next week you can read the book. Welcome back to the world of Bionicle in the time before time.
Okay. Before the Big Bang is what you're telling me?
I don't know. That's just how the movies always said in the time before time. That was what they said. I don't know what that is. I know that.
I just want to see that. I just want to see that one Bionicle fish coming out of the sea and getting legs. Getting two little leg attachments on it.
It's probably like a fish rahi beast I'm forgetting about. But at a time before time, our story starts on the island of Matanui, not the person, the island, where 6 canisters washed ashore on the washed to the shores, and we were introduced to the Toa Mata. These Toa were sent by Matanui, the guy, not the island, to save the island from the fearsome Rahi beast that had been ravaging the place, the citizens, for 1,000 years? Yeah, 1,000 years. The Toa would eventually find each other. They weren't really that much of fans of working together, but they learned that by doing so, they were stronger than they were before, and were able to fight off the Nui Jaga and other Rahi beasts, and even come face to face with the Dark Lord himself, the Makuta. Okay.
Okay.
The Makuta proved to be a tough fight and kind of like an existential threat, but they managed to beat him. But he's as consistent as there is shadow. As long as shadows exist in the world, so will the Makuta. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we faced off against the Borak swarms. Okay. Now these swarms were deadly because they were the anti-Lego heroes. Where the Legos were where in Legos you build things up. The Borak are like the people who come in and just kick all your creations down and break them apart. And everyone's just crying because they spent 1,000 years building up this shit and then the shit knocked over. And so the Toa find out that the only way they can stop the Borak swarms is to gain more power and to go down to the caverns below and fight the Borak Queen. And the Borak King, other shit, and of course they don't want to work together because working together is stupid. We hate it, and so they go back. So they go underwater. So they eventually learn their lesson. Like, oh, we should at least try a little bit, and they do get together enough to beat the Borak Queen, and then they awaken the Borak Cow. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because the Borak Cow are the Toa versions of the Borak. And so basically, like, if something happens to their version of the Tarago, which the Toa Mata defeated, the Borak Cow will come in and save them, as the Toa Mata did for their island. Now, the Toa Mata evolved at this point. They got entrenched in Protodermis. And so Protodermis has the properties of, like, it can kill you, or it can make you stronger, it can mutate you. In this case, it made them stronger, and the Toa Mata had ascended to the
God.
Okay. And they loved this title, at least Tahu did, because he made sure that every Matoran had to call him Tahu Nuva. Not Tahu, not Tahu Mata, Tahu Nuva. Call me by my name. Okay, never But the Borak Cow showed up, and they just put belt to ass on the Toa.
Oh God, dude! You don't need to have an actual ass in order to get your ass kicked, is what I'm hearing, audience.
This was like this was a 20-0 L record for the Toa Noob nonstop. Now, let me be fair. The first thing the Borak Cow did was take away the Toa Nooba's elemental powers, not because they were scared of them, just because they needed them for what they were doing. And so the Toa Nooba weren't fully powered up, but the fact remains there were scenes where, like, even the Matoran had to step in and tell the Toa Nooba, just stop fighting, stop working. It's not, all right, chill, okay? Actually, that was the case of Jala, the captain of the guard. He had to tell Tahu to stop fighting this Boracal because his pride was getting hurt. And Jala was like, listen, if we don't have the Toa, we're dead. So stop fighting this thing. And Jala was like, whatever, fuck you. And but yes, the Toa Nuva did show up for one last final battle against the Boracal, but they still, even with the Mask of Time, they still couldn't beat them. So instead, they said, fuck it. We give up, but then Gali was like, wait, hold on, I got one more plan in me. And they used the power of the Boracal against them, and the Boracal basically accidentally beat themselves. So there you go. Lastly, on the Matanui Island, we have to deal with the quest for the Mask of Light. Now, there's been a main side character, perspective character named Jala. No, not Jala. Takua. He's called. Deadpool is the chronicler. He's the guy who tells the stories like I am about the Bionicle universe. Okay, but in this story, he is the story. He's the main character, and he's like, okay. Oh, no, I don't want to be that. Too bad though, because they have to go. He finds the Mask of Light, and they have to go on a quest all around the island to give the Mask of Light to the legendary, mysterious, never before seen 7th Toa. Too bad Makuta heard about the Mask of Light, and he sent his sons, the Rakshis, to go collect that shit. Tahu gets infected by one of these motherfuckers and turns evil. Because in every Toa and Matsu story, every Toa Nuva story, there's always that one part where the Toa Nuva turns evil and they have to bring him back to the good side. It's just tradition. But yeah, the Toa do come together, understand their differences, and team up and defeat the Rakshi, but not before Jalet gets killed. And Takua finds out that he's the 7th Toa all along. It was him. He's the main character, okay? This wasn't a journey to find the 7th Toa. It was a journey to emotionally prepare Takua to become the hero that he's supposed to be, essentially. And he just didn't know it. Takua now transforms into Takanuva and challenges the Makuta well, in the movie, he challenges Takua to a Koli game. Basically, it's like challenging the final boss to soccer, and whoever wins, saves the island. Basically. Okay. And Takua wins this deadly game of soccer, but it's not enough to stop the Makuta, and so he tackles the Makuta into a sea of protodermis, and he arises as like a fusion between Makuta and Takanuva, and they awaken the spirit of Matanui. Because Masanui was asleep, and they wake him up, and they also find out there's another fucking island, which everyone was like, what? There's more than one? And that was the island of Metronui. And so the elders came together and said, yes, we weren't 100% honest with you. There's other islands out there. Let's tell you about Metronui. This is where all of you came from. And they're like, all of us? Yes. Every last one of you came from Metronui, except for the Toa. We brought you here. 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, we get introduced to 6 new Toa. These are the Toa Metru. Now, unlike the Toa Mata, they weren't made into Toa. They were actually Matoran. These are teachers, scholars, mask makers, people who look at the fucking stars for a living. Okay, these are not warriors. Okay.
Okay.
But they are the next generation of Toa. Okay. Your electrician, your local electrician, will now save the universe. Okay.
Oh God.
And so, but they were kind of ass at it. But they went on a couple of D&D side missions, which we will not get. The Toa Metro have a lot more adventures than I'm going to get into because it's a lot. But the main point is Vakama is the leader, and he has self-doubt issues. He has issues with his self-worth. But he's a good leader, but nobody wants to listen to him. He was tasked by Taraga Duma, who was the elder of Metronui at the time, to make the Mask of Time. This is a mask that controls time and space. We know in the future it gets destroyed by the Boracal, but this is how it got made, essentially.
Yeah.
And, as the Toa discover their new gifts and abilities, Vakama finally finishes the Mask of Time, but then he realizes something. Taraga Duma did not ask him to make the Mask of Time. It was actually the Makuta who stole Taragaduma's body and pretended to be Taragaduma, basically. And so, and Makuta wanted the Mask of Time so he could freeze time and imprison all the Matoran and then take them over for his new era. Well, that didn't work out. So instead, he caused an earthquake that destroyed the entire city. And but Vakama was able to beat him. More strategic, I would say the movie version is like really stupid how this fight plays out, but in the book version, it plays a lot more quicker, so it's not as stupid. They beat Makuta, but they can't save all the Matoran. They don't have enough like technology to do that. So they go to an island. They keep traveling the seas, and they find the island of Matanui, the island which we know in the future. But now they have to go back and get those motherfuckers so they get the rest of the Matoran and bring them there so the plot can continue as it does by the time the Toa Nuva show up. Yeah, so they do that. So they do that. The Toa, by the way, we're almost done. The Toa, they do that. Vakama has a bit of an attitude problem because he thinks he's the main character now and not everybody else. And but they find out that when they go back to Metro Nui, the city is overrun with Rahi beasts, namely the Vizorak, who are these spider fucking creatures that like take over the whole like fucking island. There's webs all over the place. And also it's ruled by two warlords, Rudaka, the first femme fatale in the Bionicle universe. Okay, she got that sexy armor, you know, for the. And we also got. We also got the Simp Lord King Sidorak. In the movie, they play him up to be like a complete simp for Rudaka, but in the book, it's more like, I just want to marry you, so you'll stop trying to kill me. So,
okay, so what I'm hearing, Jake, is this is your lord here.
No, I am not a Sidorak. I'm not a Sidorak stan. I thought he was stupid in the movie. I mean, I liked him, but I thought he was stupid. But yes, the Toa wind up having to go to war with the Vizorak because Vakama is being so aggressive with his orders. He is causing the team to make basic ass mistakes. Like they say, let's just do some recon because we haven't been in the city for a long time. Let's just figure out what we're doing and everything. Vakama's like, no, we're going to go now because we don't have time for this shit. They're like, all right. So inevitably the Toa Metru get kidnapped and they get transformed into monster versions of themselves. And they are forever, well, not forever, but they're transformed. And the Toa Hordika, half monster, half Toa, all beasts. Okay, so the Toa Hordika comes with a caveat of they are more angry now. They're all their worst traits are amplified by the Hordika powers, and if they can't get this under control, they will be beast forever. They run into these people called the Rahaga, who were Toa, who also got turned into like Hordika, but they just got used to it and they're good about it. So they're trying to help the Toa Hordika get used to that. But Vakama keeps spiraling out of control, and his team giving him shit for his actions doesn't really help. So Vakama wasn't getting captured by Rudaka, and Rudaka uses her Dami Mami powers to turn Vakama into a simp that wants to do his own thing.
Oh God.
And so Vakama's new plan in the book version is that he thinks that teamwork is stupid. And if everyone just listened to him, things would be fine. So he's working with Rudaka, so he can use the army of the Vizorak to get the Matoran and bring them to Matanui. But the more he keeps going on with his plan, the more he keeps kind of forgetting why he's even here to begin with. So he starts being more and more evil. Meanwhile, the Toa Hordika have to find this guy named Kutangu to give them a cure for their virus. But when they find him, Kitangu's like, I can't do that because I don't want to. Fuck you. And but I do like the story you told me. It was kind of heartfelt. And I think if I'm gonna do it, I need to see your friend Vakama here too. And they're like, okay, well, we'll go save our boy Vakama because we might be mad at him, but we love him. He's our boy. And Kitangu's like, and you know what? I'll go with you. So they have a final fight in the Colosseum for the fate of the Matoran. And Matal, the Toa of Air, who gave Vakama a lot of shit in this book, fights Vakama by himself. Vakama puts belt to ass and beats Matal, but Matal gives him a speech about how, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have given you so much shit, but you can't do this without us. That's what being a team is. We have to respect each other and we have to learn how to work together because we can't do anything alone. And Makama's like, fuck, you're right. I got you, my fam. And so together, Makama comes up with a plan to defeat Rudaka. Rudaka, by the way, completely betrays Sidorak and gets him killed by his main op.
Oh, jeez, dude.
And so Makama comes up with a plan where the Toa Hordika shoot all their elemental energies into Rudaka, but he doesn't. I'm making it simplifying it, but it's in a way that like it makes sense when you see it. It's actually smart. It's smart. I'm just dumbing it down. And but this is actually part of Rudaka's plan. Not really, but like she goes with it because they shoot her in the chest, and in her chest is a crystal of the Makuta, and this is a part of the crystal that they sealed the Makuta with. So when they use all their powers to hit the thing, it frees the Makuta. Now the Makuta's back in the picture. Okay, so because Rudaka, I forgot to mention this. Rudaka's whole objective is I'm a simp for the Makuta. I love the devil. Okay, I just want to be with him. Okay, so if I can free him, that's okay. So she dies, but the Makuta is free. But Vakama ain't scared of that bitch no more. So everyone else goes to Matanui, but Vakama says, I got one last thing I got to do. I got to look for the Mask of Time because I can't let the Makuta get his hands on it. And he goes on a solo adventure where he actually has to team up with the Makuta. Okay, crazy. This is like God's greatest follower teaming up with Satan. Okay, just respect.
Yeah.
But they have to team up because there's another faction. So we introduce the factions in the Bionicle universe. We have the Shadow Hunters, the Makuta, the Order of the Makuta, and the Order of Matanui. And that's what all this arc is about, basically introducing that concept. And Vakama, we get to see him be an excellent strategist. This is Vakama at his peak. This is like top tier Vakama for me. But Vakama manages to get the Mask of Time, but Makuta, after Makuta and them, they team up. But then I like how in this story, Makuta betrays Vakama, but Vakama knew that, so he pits the other villain against Makuta, and then all three of them are like fighting each. It's like But Makuta winds up coming on top, and then he corners Vakama, and Vakama says, "You know what, bitch? You want the Mask of Time so bad? Fine, but here's the thing: you're gonna get it in pieces because I'm gonna destroy this shit." And he said, "No, you're not, because if you do that, you're gonna destroy the universe because the Mask of Time controls all of space and time." And Vakama says, "I don't give a fuck." Okay.
Can I be honest with you? That's Liz.
Yeah, and he said, "Listen, if you get this mask, you win anyway. And I'd rather this universe blows the hell up than let you get your hands on it. So I'll kill myself and I'll kill the universe. Fuck you." And
it's like either all of us die or none of us die. Pick one.
Right, and the Makuta's like, I mean, I could still do it. Like, I'd find a way to make it work. He's like, yeah, but you'd be annoyed about it. He's like, you know what, fair. What do you want? And he says, I want a peace treaty. I want to go back to my home in Matanui, and you can't fuck with us for like 1,000 years. For like a couple years. You got to give us some time, okay? Also, you can't go after the mask anymore. Also, you got to let me leave alive. And if anything happens to me, like, I destroy this shit right here, right now. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. And Makuta's like, I don't even respect you, but fuck you, I agree. Fine, we'll do it.
Fuck you, weeball.
So Makuta agrees, and that's why the Makuta doesn't show up for at least 1,000 years over there. But he does send Rahi Beast over there to do some like gang wars on about to do something about to do it. Now to wrap things up, Matanui. So in the future, the Matoran who are being told the story, like, well, why don't we remember Metro Nui at all? It's because when Makuta put them all into a coma, they put them all into a coma. When they woke up, they didn't have their memories anymore. They just lost them all, basically. But so they had to restart from the beginning. Only the Toa Metro kept everything. They know all the sorts. So now they can go to Metro Nui and live in their home and repair it and live out their lives. Although they can't because we have a new problem now. Matanui, the guy, was asleep, and that was the main reason they couldn't go to Metro Nui. But the new problem is he's not just asleep. Apparently, Matanui's got cancer. Okay, he's got the the sickly cancer, the I'm gonna die soon cancer.
Didn't you
Oh,
tell
wow.
us one time when we were watching one of the movies that this was based off like the creator or something who had cancer or something?
Yes, and so I'll get more into the psychology of it. Not today, way later when we get to the sixth book. Basically, when we get to like a future book.
Mhm.
But Montanui is dying, and if he dies, so too does the universe of Bionicle. So the only thing that can cure him is the mask of life. But that mask is somewhere on this island that we never heard of called Voyanui. So the Toa Nuva have to go off and get it. But when they do, they run into the Paraka. This is a gang of shadow hunters that hate each other but love the game more. And so when the Toa Nuva get there, they try to fight the Paraka, but they get their asses whooped, which was heartbreaking to read because actually in this fight, the Toa Nuva did try to use teamwork without any questions. They were actually really good at being a team. It was really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, but they did lose. And then they tried again, and they lost again. And this time it was more permanent because they got their shit stolen. So, meanwhile, and so like the Taranga are back home. They're like, well, the Toa Nuva aren't coming back. I guess we're fucked. I guess the universe is ending. But luckily, Jala and a brave team of Matoran found out this shit was happening and said, nah, we're just going to go over to Voyanui and we're going to figure this shit out. And so the keychain people, as Crypto likes to bring them out, the greatest of the keychain Matoran warriors goes off and on an island trip to Voyanui, but they get stopped by Karzani. I'm not going to go into him. Just know that he's a crazy motherfucker. And he tries to make them slaves to his island, but they escape. And on the way to Voyanui, they've all lost their masks, but on the way to Voyanui, a red lightning hits them, and they are forever changed. And they're no longer Matoran, they are Toa, the Toa Ignika. And now, where we are now in the story for next week is that the Toa Ignika are in a full-on war with the Paraka for the battle of the universe, because the stakes are if the Toa lose here, the whole universe dies.
Wow. No pressure.
No pressure. This is their
pressure.
first adventure, by the way. So, but luckily, unlike the Toa of the past, these Toa have learned from the mistakes of the Toa of the present and the Toa of the past. The Toa Nuva and the Toa Metri's mistakes have made this team stronger. So there is hope, even if it seems all gone. But yes, that is the Bionicle retrospective. Next week, we will continue where we left off with the Toa with the Toa Ignika on their way to hopefully save the universe and get the Mask of Life before the Paraka do. So there you go.
Gotcha.
Yay! Everyone clap.
Yes.
Our dose of Bionicle for the week audience. Yay.
A super dose,
So.
actually. That was like 4 different stories. So.
There you go. Anyway, let's go on to the last book of the night, audience. So,
Jeez.
All right.
Cool. So this is a group project between me and Cryptid. We're talking about the last issue 4 of the Monsters, The Mummy.
I gotta say, audience, this is my favorite issue of this whole mini series. Well, go ahead, Witch. Yeah, explain what happened.
Oh, we start off. Hold on, I have to read this on a website that I don't really like to read, but since I couldn't go to my comic shop, we're reading it here.
Okay.
Lots of ads. Anyways, so remember that lady love of the mummy guy? Remember when she died?
It's an ancient Egyptian name. I'm calling her Amun. That's part of her name. Yeah, Ankh sounds good. All right, Ankh.
Anyways, so basically, we just get like a little crash course on what the fuck happened to her. She was in love with this guy. Then she died of the plague. She was reincarnated many a times until we got to Helen and everything like that. And basically, she took over Helen's body full on because why not? I guess.
Yeah.
So that she can have her body for herself. But she gets a sick fit though.
Oh, I know, right? Like, yeah, the magical tailor department did her good,
Yeah.
and all this was done because of the mummy, who just wants
Yeah.
his the love of his life back. So
It's like, bro, get a life. Anyway, so she wakes up, she sees him, she's like, oh my god, it's
let me bring
you. We could finally be together, my love. Oh my
let
god,
me
only death separated us.
let,
Well,
let me
now you
bring
see
out the
the
picture.
next picture.
Not yet. Not yet.
So
Okay.
now you can.
Okay. Do.
Perfect.
Yay! She pull. So you're telling me she pulls off a Wonder Woman 1973 situation where she kisses this guy, even though that's Helen's body. Ah, ah.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that's how
And
that
body
works.
swap was a good thing, okay? Anyway, so he's
So,
like, oh, we cannot be together yet. There's one more thing that must be done. Like, this is your body, your original body from when
yep.
we first loved each other. And like
Hmm.
blah 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 blah. And she's like, "Oh, but your soul is in the body of another, this modern girl, Helen."
Yep.
And she's like, I have hidden Helen away. She is no threat to me now." And he's like, "It is not enough. The girl's soul must be cast from your body." And she's like, "What the fuck do you even talk?" And he's like,
it,
"I tried to bring you back after after your first death, but I failed. I will not fail again." He pulls out like this knife thing.
oh yeah.
Like,
He
you cannot mean that. What
and
are
I
you
love
talking?
his and I love his saying. He's like, "My love, it is as you always said. Death is such a small thing." And her reaction is like, I was just being philosophical. What the hell? Like,
Is like, bro, I didn't want to actually kill her.
yeah. Look, I did not mean. Oh, my god, this was like an instant rejection. Like the
And then he's
mummy.
like, he's like,
Yeah,
he's like, it would only be a moment of pain. Like,
yeah,
but then when you rise anew, like fully yourself, Helen will be gone, nothing but like a memory. And she's like, nothing but a memory. My body died, but my soul is not. I lived thousands of fucking years while you rotted in the fucking ground, bitch.
oh,
Helen is
yeah.
one of those
Look,
lives, man. I watched her grow up, become the woman that she is now.
yeah.
Like, she deserves
Audience,
to like live her fucking life. And
audience.
like, if you love
Let's
me, let me go.
Hey, audience. Let's look at this from the mummy's perspective. All right,
Not
like
looking.
okay, look, the girl that he loves, right? You had the privilege of being reincarnated over the generations. This mummy guy was stuck in a dang sarcophagus all this dang time.
It's not his.
All
It's not her fault that he decided to try to bring her back after she died.
yeah, I mean, like
It's
you
not.
waited all.
It's
You were
not
saved.
her
Oh.
fault. Look
I'm
at
just
this from
like,
her perspective, man.
yeah, I'm also looking at this from the mummy's perspective. Like, dude, he waited. He was saving himself all this time
Yeah,
for
and
you,
he's
woman.
becoming super toxic when she was told what he plans on doing, and she's like, I don't think that's a good idea, Bessie.
Oh,
I don't think that's a good idea. And then he's
he's
like
like,
grabbing her arm, becoming a more scary, and be like, "No man has ever suffered as I did for you. You cannot reject me."
yeah,
And it's like, bro, that sounds like a
I,
toxic relationship.
I,
That sounds abusive.
I agree with him in the phrase that no man has ever suffered more than I have for you. No, literally, audience. Imagine you being stuck in sarcophagus, bandaged up, you're dried up in the face. I mean,
Yeah,
look at this
because
guy's
he
face.
fucked up. He fucked up,
Yeah,
and he got
yeah,
caught, and now he had to deal with his fucking punishment.
yeah.
He had to reap his own fucking actions. Okay, reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Can you switch to the next picture when
Sure
he
thing. Sure
becomes
thing.
like literally a corpse? And
Oh yeah.
she's like, Dennis, like, what happened to you? And he's like, for thousands of years, I've been trapped in this body, cursed by the gods, and shit like that. And she's like, the price was too high. I did not ask you to
Oh
trap your
god.
soul in a walking corpse. And then she like
Start.
scratches him, as she should.
You,
And
I
so
kind
he's
of feel
like
like
dragging her to like this freaking table type thing for like a
yeah.
sacrificial thing. She's like, this isn't love, this is murder. And then she apologizes to Helen. And so Helen, from like the depths of her mind, I guess you could say, she
Yeah.
awakens. She's like, I must get out of here. I need to get out. Let me go. And then her
Mhm.
soul manifests, but like not a lot of people can actually see her soul. But like her soul
Mhm.
manifests into like a corporeal ghost-like form. And
Yeah.
so we see some of the human people. Hold on. be like, hey,
Yeah.
let her go, monster. And then he's like, death is but a doorway to new life. We live today. Shall we live again? And
That was a
like the
quote
mummy
that she
bursts
that
out of the coffin and is
yeah.
like the corpse specifically of like the corpse, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
Helen
the
is
quote.
talking to Ankh, and she's like, there's a hallway behind the statue of Anubis. And she's like, Helen, why are you here? Like, I can't see you. She's like, just follow my voice. Just run. Just follow my voice. Because, girls support girls. Remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't let an abusive, like, partner tell you what to do, bitch. Okay? Listen to your girly pop. And so basically, Helen is guiding her out of this fucking place that they're at. I don't know where they're at, but they're at a place with a whole bunch of, I think it's the museum. Yeah, it's the museum.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, museum.
And so basically, I think it's like the dad is like, go after them. And so Helen is still like leading her to like safety, because girls support girls.
Yep.
So basically, hold on. Imhotep basically starts turning into like full on corpse like with like weird like a fucking, how do I describe that? Like smoke? Would that be smoke?
Okay. Yeah, smoke. Let's go with that.
Okay. And so like Helen keeps trying to say like, get up, we gotta keep running, and she's like, I can't, and basically begs Isis to like help her face this evil because like I said, girls support girls. And so basically with the power of female friendship, can you switch to the next picture?
Yeah.
Booyah, Kusha, defeat
They
your
break.
toxic ex.
They evaporate his heart. Audience. Like, damn.
And so basically he just turns into a pile of dust.
Yep.
So that all the British people can either make him into paint or eat him, because that's what they used to do. I'm not kidding. They used to do that.
Wow.
So that basically all like the mummies like just go back to being dead. And so basically, Ong was like, "Oh, Helen, I'm so sorry. I should have seen what he'd become." So Helen's like, "What will you do?" And then she's like, "Your body is your own. Like Isis will take me home now. Like I get your struggles that you spent much of your life longing to belong, to be like less complicated." And like she basically sees like her kindness and like her compassion and bravery and stuff like that. And so basically she's like, I understand, I'll never forget you. And so basically Helen regains her body back, and this white guy, I forgot his name, it does not matter.
Yeah, the love interest.
He's like, Helen, like, are you okay? Like, where is so and so? And so basically, do we have another picture after this?
Yeah, that's the last picture.
So basically, she's like dead forever this time, and so they hug, and that's where the issue ends. But dear listeners, we actually got a snippet of the next book that we're getting, and it's the Universal Monsters, the Invisible Man, one of the ones I wanted.
Yeah, which we'll be talking about once the issue comes out, audience. So
I
yeah, let's
don't know
get
when
this
it comes
going.
out.
But
It comes out
yeah,
in August, so we got time.
yep. But yeah, audience, like I kind of feel like definitely some rules and regulations should have been brought up when the mummy and whatever her ancient self was, when they had their relationship up. Like, god dang, like this dude got literally his heart eviscerated by the end. Like,
Yeah, that's what you do. I think that's
yeah,
what happened in the original Mummy movie. It's just been a while since I've watched a lot of these movies.
yeah.
Like, I just rewatched the original Dracula movie from 1931, like, just recently.
Gotcha.
So,
But man, I know in this book, like, Witch was feeling for the woman, but I was feeling for the guy here. I'm like,
not feeling for him. Like, he
uh,
became super fucking toxic, and I'm not supporting that.
yeah, I'm like,
Like,
the guy.
keep in mind, like, do I understand why he might have been doing this? Yes. However, there is still the abusive aspect of it that we cannot overshadow.
Like, look at the guy.
He was still acting very abusive to get what he wanted, not to think about what she fully wanted.
Oh, but keep in mind, he also I guess he kind of misinterpreted the saying she had, like about like what death is but only the beginning, and she was probably like saying that in a very philosophical way, but as he took it, is like, oh no, that's probably just an actual thing. Like, death is only the beginning for us. Like,
Still being very
oh boy,
toxic about it. I'm just saying,
yeah.
regardless of what or his intention was, he's still acting very abusive towards her, and so I completely understand why she would have been batshit terrified.
Gotcha. But yeah, as far as the whole series goes as a whole, again, it does help if you have an investment in the actual IP of this. I mean, when it came to Frankenstein, I definitely had an investment because, everybody knows the story of Frankenstein. The Mummy, though, everybody a modern day only knows of the Brendan Fraser version of the Mummy,
Because
not the
Brendan
original
Fraser's
one.
hot.
Yep. Yeah, so like nobody I venture to say that nobody, if you were to talk to somebody randomly across the street, do you think they've watched the Mummy movie, the original one?
There's like a
I
chance.
Yeah, I would say like a 20% chance, really, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I didn't watch the Mummy. I gotta watch it at some point,
I think we can watch them all for free on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's how I watched
go do that.
Dracula.
Yep, go do that, audience. So yeah, Forest miniseries is over. Now we just gotta wait for the Invisible Man to pop up. When will
Next
he
month,
pop up?
guys. Next month.
We should have kept the release of that issue hidden because hey, you never know when the Invisible Man will pop up after all, right? Witch?
Hey, I didn't say what day. I just said which month. It didn't
Oh,
give.
okay. There you go. There you go. But anyway, all right then, audience. Yeah, that's it, man. It's been a while since we passed the 2 hour mark during these comic reviews, but we
I think
did.
it's because Jake had both a review and a recapping of two separate things.
It was really the recap. All right, I was recapping 6 books in 22 minutes.
I mean, you still did that pretty quickly, so I'm not blaming you.
Cool. Anyway, play the ending song, man.
Yeah, I'm starting to get big.
It doesn't matter.
Yes. There we go. Thank you for joining us as always, audience, and we'll be seeing you all next time.
Bye. I'll see you when I see you guys. I'll be at the Canny Experience